why you should own SACDs. And welcome. Everyone got here. Thank you guys for joining me in the roundtable. I'm Steve Westman. Sort of a special episode today. I'm doing this one live, and I did a tour before. This is the Vancouver Film School in downtown Vancouver. I want to also give you guys maybe a quick tour of this facility because this is just absolutely awesome. We've got some time. And unfortunately, I know I had Nathan Goss scheduled to come on the roundtable as well, and I haven't been able to get a hold of him today, so I don't know what's happening. Hopefully he jumps in on this. But today I wanted to discuss, 5, I think, SACDs. A lot of the times SACDs, they don't get as much love, I feel. We talk a lot about vinyl, and that's fine, obviously, but there is a really, if you've never owned an SACD, maybe this is the time to really explore it. And I'll get into that as well, but again, thank you guys for joining me. I know if you tuned in yesterday, you watched the, I guess it was myself and Patrick PB Thal. We did a blind shootout of the Beatles boxes. That was lots of fun. I ended up liking the MoFi, the sound of the MoFi one, which I thought was just hilarious. And a lot, I guess the majority like the remastered 2012 edition. So there you go. I love blind shootouts. Hi guys. Hi Nick. Thanks guys. If anyone, just put it in the comments. I'd love to give you a little tour of this facility first, and then we can talk SACDs. You know what? Screw it. I'm just going to do it. Let's just do that. I'm going to turn the camera around for you guys, and I'm going to take you for a little bit of a walk around. Hopefully that works. I think this would be kind of fun to sort of mix it up a little bit here. Let's see if this works. And there we go. So I'll take it off the tripod right away. A little bit of, but I'll just go through a couple things. So this is the Vancouver Film School, guys. I know this isn't an audiophile thing, but it's really cool. This is one of the sets here in one of the studios that the school uses. It used to be a former history museum, so you can see it's like a rock formation here. And I'll just do sort of a panorama. There you go. And we want to discuss SACDs. Like I was mentioning, I was waiting for Nathan to show up, so I might be doing this one solo. So guys, if you've got a lot of comments, we'll go through the comments. I brought some SACDs I want to talk about today, but here you go. If you guys are into movies, a lot of you are, so I'm at the Vancouver Film School right in downtown Vancouver. This is basically a student set that they build, and it's the second term. It's called production design, and this is a real life set, sort of like no different than, if you walked onto a live Hollywood set. And again, this is just a school set. So, and when you put the, the lighting on and the cameras, it looks unbelievable. So there you go. Yeah, as you can see here, and just a huge facility. We're right in the downtown Vancouver, and this is actually like 60-foot ceilings. And this is right downtown, 100,000 square foot studio. And you walk back out here, you can see it's an old, like it's called the Jurassic Park studio, but it's massive, and this is all underground. Pretty cool stuff, as you can see here. So yeah, this is the Vancouver Film School. There you go. Hello, Michael, 45, welcome. Yeah, if you guys are just joining me late, this is the Vancouver Film School. I'm doing a live show here today. I thought it'd be really cool to sort of mix it up, show you a couple things before we get started and talk about SACDs. I'm hoping that my wingman at some point, hopefully, but again, looks like from The Shining. But I wanted to show you this. Again, we're going to do our show here today, and this is it. This is one of the studios, Vancouver Film School, and this is right underground. If you guys have ever been to Vancouver, this is right downtown, and pretty awesome, you can see here. So let me get back to it. I'll put the camera back here, but yeah, welcome to the show. Like I was mentioning before, I was hoping that Nathan would show up, and we had it all set up for Nathan to appear with me as well. So it looks more like I'm going to be doing this show today solo. So lucky you guys, solo. Westman's doing the show solo. But welcome. So I don't know. We talk a lot about vinyl, of course. I want to see you guys in the comments. I want to talk SACDs today. 5 reasons why I think everyone should own SACDs. Let's talk about it. Number one, of course, the price. If there's a drinking game about me complaining about prices as a Canadian or even an international customer, we know vinyl prices. If you're buying a Premium box costs a lot of money with exchange and everything else that goes, duty and shipping. It costs a lot. So an SACD, from a value perspective, man, it's not a bad thing. Even as a Canadian, to buy SACDs right from, acoustic sounds or mobile fidelity, not bad at all. So if you guys, I mean, you don't know much about the history of Super Audio CD, let me get into it. It was introduced, not that old, 1999. It was a joint venture between Sony and Philips Electronics. And the whole goal was for Sony and Philips to really find a successor to the CD format. That was really what they were trying to do. And it really, an SACD, as most of you probably know, just doing a review here, it allows for multiple audio channels. So for example, surround sound or multi-channel sound. So it's providing a higher bit rate and longer playing time than, of course, a conventional CD, and that's the big draw, right? It also has a hybrid component to it as well, so you can also play an SACD on a regular CD player, which is kind of cool. So like I was mentioned before, the SACD format introduced in 1999. Really, they developed, and this is another thing too, in 2002, they developed and first installed the hybrid disc production in the United States. I didn't even know that, just doing some research here. But, sales never really got to where they thought. They had a capacity at one point for production line of about 3 million discs a year, and of course that didn't happen. So by 2007, the SACD failed to make a real big impact in the market, and there was more, of course, downloading. Of course, that's still big today. People buying other formats such as vinyl, that type of thing. But it's still a niche today in the audiophile industry. I know a lot of you guys are excited to talk, get on the show and talk about it today. But here's something interesting. So one of the most, I guess, popular SACD in terms of sales of all time is Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon. But you didn't know that. Apparently, according to my information, it's the SACD versions, more than one, have sold over 800,000 to date, and that's a surround sound edition. The Who's Tommy is up there in sales. Roxy Music's Avalon up there in sales. Again, I mean, because they can take advantage of the multi-channel format, right? And all these albums that I mentioned were all remixed in 5.1 Dolby Surround, and they also had the standard CD layer as well. So kind of cool. Now, I've been a big SACD fan for a while, and again, for me, the sound quality, of course, is important. But what I wanted to talk about too, really get into it here. Have a look. I mean, the characteristics, like really looking at the differences between a CD and an SACD layer, right? I mean, disk capacity from a normal CD is so much smaller, only 700 megabytes compared to almost 5 gigabytes on an SACD layer. And audio encoding, you're getting 1 bit of DSD on an SACD layer, which is huge, right? So you're getting way more information, way more frequency, and it even shows that there your sampling frequency is only 44 kilohertz on a CD layer, whereas of course with an SACD layer, you're getting almost 3 megahertz you're just getting so much more on an SACD layer. So hence why you're getting that much more of a better sort of experience sound-wise, because you're able to add up to 6 audio channels to make that sort of surround, get that surround sound. Incredible. And the playback time, 80 minutes versus 110 minutes compression. So one of the big reasons, right, and surprised too, and put it in the comments, I'm really surprised that the SACD they don't sell more. I really don't know why. But here's the differences. Hybrid SACDs, like I mentioned, 4.7 gigabytes layer. The CD, of course, doesn't have as much. Single layer, like I said, 4.7. A dual layer, which means it has an SACD layer and a CD layer. And of course, looking at how much information you can put on an SACD is incredible. And again, that is the big thing. We're getting these things in surround sound, multi-channel, that type of thing. Amazing. So, again, guys, put some comments in. I want to make this more interactive. Let me know your thoughts on SACDs. I know some were talking about. I guess it was Phil Collins. Phil Collins I guess their latest one, the Atlantic 75, they're not doing an SACD of that. Unfortunately, I think that would be a big hit as well. But what are your thoughts going forward on SACDs, guys? Put it in the comments. I'd really like to hear from you. Your thoughts. I mean, have you had an SACD player for a long time? Do you buy a lot of SACDs versus vinyl? I mean, where are you with that right now? But again, I'd like to hear some comments today, and I'll put some up right away. There's a lot going on, but I run a Marantz SACD player. I love that one. I've had, I think this is my third or fourth player now since I started collecting SACDs. So I've had a few in my day. How about you guys? Your experiences on them as well? I mean, it's one of those things. For me personally, I can buy more than I can buy more SACDs this way. So for instance, I don't need to, go out and buy a $125 premium record if I can get it on SACD. And of course, for the whole digital thing, I understand all of that. I understand, but I do believe, yes, I think that the SACD is underappreciated. I think we talk a lot about vinyl, and I think it's important to understand that I really, truly believe in SACD, and I think someone put it up here, is underrated, and it truly is. So tell me, guys, how long have you experienced SACDs for? Of course, as we know, an SACD audio is stored in DSD or digital stream digital. We know all about DSD, absolutely. I'm going to start with some comments, start reading those. I want to get interactive here. Please, please, please. Michael 45. Michael 45 Audiophile, I will get an SACD player for obvious reasons soon. Any recommendations of which player I should get? So, you guys have any recommendations for Michael? I didn't know, Michael, that you didn't have an SACD player. That actually surprises me. So, guys, are you all new to SACDs? What are your thoughts? I mean, do you buy lots of them? It's funny for me. I go back and forth. It just really depends on the titles. It really does. I mean, here's the Rock Soul Man. The dual layer SACDs were a great deal. Gaucho and Countdown to Ecstasy in particular sound really good. What does he say here? Sorry. These CDs sold for like $20 years ago or so. CD layer is same mastering as the SACD. There you go. Are you guys going to be buying, or have you bought the Steely Dan stuff that's come out by Acoustic Sounds, the SACDs that were mastered by Bernie? I'd be curious to know there. But I'm going to show you a couple of mine. Really wish Nathan was here because he had some really good picks as well. But a few people here. This is interesting. Gordon Hunter, SAC player since 2004. The buck stops here since 2004 as well. Wow, that's kind of cool. Noble, guys, it's super complicated, way more complicated than just buying a player because of the Sony chip, apparently. Okay. Waiting for Asia. So Asia, I'm not sure. Maybe someone can help me with this one. Does Asia, the SACD, come out at the same time as the UHCR vinyl? Does it say that in the Acoustic Sounds website? Please let me know if that's the case. Here's some advice. Tubelandia, JD, some stuff. Here's some advice to Michael in terms of some of the players that are out there. There you go. Oppo BDP 103D, and then the UDP 205. He says is the pinnacle. Apparently, I own the Marantz. I own a Marantz player, which I spent a decent amount of money on. I'm quite happy with as well. Bronco Billy, I don't own SACDs, and since I got back into vinyl, I'd really like to stay there. Everything else is streaming on the go. Now, the thing with an SACD for me, it's convenience, and I mean, I think all of you who have a big vinyl collection, it gets to a point where do you put all this stuff? That's what's happening with me right now. It's like I'm getting to a point I just don't have the room, and so of course one of the 5 reasons why I'm going to buy more SACDs, number one, a little bit more room, right? I don't, not these massive, premium box sets. I mean, it pretty much just, very small amount of shelf space needed. So it's pretty awesome there. And of course, the sound, you're getting multiple channels, you're getting surround sound, all of that as well. And, again, if you have a decent system and decent equipment, I mean, you really do hear the differences. Of course, one can argue, well, it's not analog, it's digital, blah, blah, blah. I get all of that. But truly, there's some really good stuff out there. And I think one of the viewers here mentioned an SACD as being sort of that hidden gem in the audiophile industry. And I mean, my channel's called the Audiophiles, but really, I think anyone can be an audiophile. Whoever wants to hear music that sounds good on really good, either it's an SACD or vinyl format. I mean, the companies today are making really good stuff. And I've mentioned that in my shows before, right? All the different mastering engineers and the equipment today, we're in like sort of the pinnacle of just incredible mastering engineers, incredible equipment. So I don't think there's really bad sounding records out there. Maybe there's better sounding, but it's probably not bad sounding records, considering the equipment we have today and the technology is so much different, that's for sure. So here's Bourbon Street Consulting. What's he saying here? I've owned 7 different SACD players. The early ones were all Sony made, and 3 of them were Oppos. My current Oppo UDP 205 tops them all. So far, and that's I've heard a lot. I don't have an Oppo, but you're the second person that said that. Now, what's the price range, Bourbon Street or even Tubulandia on an Oppo, so you can just help everyone as well, so they know that. Bronco Bill, I'm currently in negotiations with a wife over the spare bedroom. Like, so living in the spare bedroom, like you're gonna just not live with your, or are you gonna have your music room in there? You gotta really, let me know what that one means. Just kidding, of course. Tubulandia, it would be nice if MoFi would sell the DSD 256 that they master the vinyl. I've had a show on this, and that's the thing, Jefferson. I think at some point that the mastered file that MoFi makes of any of their albums, I have a feeling at some point they might even sell that mastered DSD file on their website to anyone that wants it. Wouldn't that be cool? So a mastered MoFi DSD file. So I mean, basically the same file that is used to master their SACD could be then sold on their website as well. I think that would be really, really cool. Here's what he says. The Oppo, the 205 is discontinued and it runs. So used, Dustin, used right now is $2,000 to $2,500. If you like on eBay or some of the local stores, just let us know there. John Loper, Sony 800, he said is the best for the money budget. And what does Wilder say? I feel like labels never let that sell, but I don't know. I really think, I mean, think about it, right? There's probably a market for someone that wants a mastered MoFi or acoustic sounds DSD of the albums where they can just download it instead of having to buy the tangible CD or vinyl. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know. I think there's a possibility of that. I truly do. I truly do. Rock Soulman, I forgot it. I have a dual layer CD, SACD of Eric Clapton's Slowhand. I have that one as well, and it sounds unreal. Any album recorded by Glenn Johns should sound unreal. Yeah, Glenn is a great mastering engineer. Darren Crawford said on Canuck Audio Mart, so that's the Canadian version, $3,850 Canadian for the Oppo 205. And Darren, you had texted me before, and you mentioned that I think you have that one in order. So I'm really curious. At some point, we'll have to get you on. I want to hear your thoughts on that one as well. Trevor Dawson wants the specs on it. I have it here. I just pulled this off the net. So here are the specs. Sort of the differences between a CD layer and an SACD layer. You can see the differences in terms of capacity. It's absolutely crazy, right? 700 megabytes versus almost 5 gigabytes of storage space, of actual capacity. And the audio encoding is so important too. You've got 16-bit PCM versus a full 1-bit DSD stream or digital. And then of course the sampling frequency is so much greater with an SACD layer, which allows to get multiple channels and allows that surround sound. And of course the playback time, 80 minutes versus 110 minutes. So there you go. Hope that helps. But yeah, and then, of course, I mentioned this. I think that's sort of a repeat of what we talked about before. But there's some good deals out there. And I went and I punched some stuff up on Google. And I think these are Canadian prices. But here you go. I mean, if you're just starting out, you can get basic SACD players. I mean, some Sony stuff for probably $400 or $500 players if you just want to sort of really test it out. Here you go. And I mean, these are Canadian prices. But, man, there's some really good deals here, as you can see. And obviously some really great recordings. So Dire Straits, MoFi, You got the Pink Floyd, you got Eagles Hotel California, and I'm going to get into that as well. Fleetwood Mac SACD, and look at the prices, right? I'm not used to that. That's Canadian prices. I'm not quite sure if that's an SACD in the dark side. Again, I just Googled this just before the show. But here you go, Whitney's album, SACD, it's $35 Canadian. Blue Hawaii, I own that one, it's 41 Canadian. I don't own the Carpenter's Gold, but look at that, 30 Canadian. Really good value here. That's the thing, right? I mean, the value you're getting for some of these is absolutely incredible. And that's the big thing, is why I truly think SACDs should get more love. They really should get more love. I truly believe they should get more love. Guys, what are your thoughts? Now, most of you, if you've probably been doing this for years, have, and give some of the other viewers some suggestions about, you probably got your first SACD player. Did you like it? I mean, did you start off cheap, or would you just go and do it? Get the Oppo, get something like in the $2,000-$3,000 range and just go for it. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Analog October Records, thanks for joining. He likes SACDs, but buy my Macintosh SACD player. But my Macintosh SACD player exhibits a little bit of digital chatter at the end of tracks. Exchange it 3 times, and I was finally told it may be resolved with an update. Boy, interesting. Never heard that before, that we've had issues with the Macintosh. It's interesting. Interesting. Tublandia, in my opinion, what's he saying here? It's best to go universal player that does Blu-ray and SACD. Exactly. I agree with that as well. Buck stops here. Streaming somehow does not grab me like a CD or SACD. And that's the thing today. Again, I've talked about this on my show many times. Streaming, it doesn't have, the experience. I mean, we've all experienced having tangible records in front of us and reading the liner notes or flipping it around. And that's no different with an SACD. It's more tangible. Again, you don't have to get off your ass to flip it over, obviously, because you can run it right through for 80 or 110 minutes, depending on the length. So that's not a bad thing. But it's the experience. And I think that's the big thing, is the experience of having something tangible and having to order it and waiting for it to come in, or going to your local record store and searching for an SACD and watching shows like this and getting ideas from all the viewers on different players that are out there, your budget. And I mean, everyone has a different budget as well, right? So I mean, not everyone can buy a $3,000 player. My Marantz that I own, I think it retails, I want to say it's a, SV7001, I think is the model number, if I'm not mistaken. I think it retails for $1,500 or so. So it's a decent one. I mean, it's not, it's not a Mac one for, $3,000 or Oppo for $3,000. But again, I think for storage space, you can sit there for the entire album and just listen to it. And the sound quality is DSD, right? Because it's an SACD. If you have surround channels, I mean, it makes for an incredible experience as well, that's for sure. I want to show you a couple of ideas I have today. I brought them here. Let me grab them. So I know there's been a few shootouts lately. We all know Hotel California. I have the SACD here. Here it is, guys. I don't know. I mean, I don't have the one step. And the reason why I don't have the one step, because obviously being Canadian or international, it's expensive. So I picked this one up, whatever it was on the MoFi website, or I guess Canadian exchange. I think it was, ended up costing me about $50 Canadian. Absolutely amazing. Again, I have an old CD of Hotel California, Canadian version from years ago. And this one, you really hear the instruments more. I think it's just, everything's more out there, if that makes sense. It's just more defined, and even the mids are more defined. Of course, you're hearing the bass, but I always like to focus on Henley's drums, and something like Life in the Fast Lane, one of my favorite songs. It kills it. It kicks ass on this SACD. And so if you're going to buy an SACD player and you want to go out there and get one, this is probably one of your first purchases. This is my top 5. I think it's sort of a must-have if you're enthusiast of SACD, or if you've got the one step already. You won't disagree with me. This one kicks ass. It's freaking killer. Hotel California MoFi, very well done. So that's one there. Now, we've talked on the roundtable a lot about Meatloaf's "Bat of the Hell." Now, was it poorly recorded, or was it just that's the way it was recorded in its day, etc., etc.? So a lot of the vinyl that's out there right now, you know, really not, doesn't sound that great. And so I was able to find, I actually found, I think probably the best version of, probably have to talk about it, is Meatloaf's Batter to Hell. This is an SACD version of Batter to Hell. I'll show you the back here. I find this very funny too. If you can see it here, it says it was mastered by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio, and guess what? It was not mastered by Kevin Gray. It was actually mastered by Ryan K. Smith. So this is Batter to Hell, the SACD. I think it came out, I can't remember. This is oh man, I can't remember exactly the date that this one came out, but this, and I've got so many copies of the vinyl version, and I've got, of course, a CD version, Canadian, that type of thing. They don't sound great, but they don't sound bad. But this one, I feel just has more separation of the instruments and just overall more dynamic. And Ryan K. Smith hit it out of the park in terms of remastering this one, that's for sure. Rock Soul Man. Steve, what about a high-end SACD player giveaway? That's what I'm talking about. Man, that's a great idea. Are you going to give it away, Rock Soul? So now my second pick, I mean, no order at all. I would definitely check out Meatloaf, Batter to Hell. I think this is Analog Spark, if I'm not mistaken, is who actually produced this and marketed it, Analog Spark. So check out that label as well. There you go, Batter to Hell. I like it. I've always liked this album. I've seen Meatloaf live a few times, and it's always a good concert. And rest in peace, Meatloaf, Batter to Hell. So some more obvious stuff. I mean, MoFi does do a lot of great things. I mean, you know, we know they're DSD mastering, but if you haven't picked it up, here it is. This is probably my favorite Alan Parsons album, iRobot. Again, in terms of budget, in terms of what you're getting, tangible, of course. I've got the Parsons box set that Miles Schull half-speed mastered. I've got MoFi vinyl, and sometimes I'm just too lazy. You know how it is. You get home, you just want to sort of sit back. You don't want to have to worry about anything. Pop on an SACD, the sound is there, and you really don't have to worry about much. I mean, it's you don't have to ever, you know, flip sides. That's one of the great things about it, that's for sure. Hang on a second. Steve Westman, did you show the SACD logo that people should look for? That's a good question. Hang on a second. Thank you. Do I have the logo here? Shoot. I probably don't have the logo, but on me here. But here, just go back. Here's the logo here. So when you're looking for an SACD player, guys, you'll see the logo just to the right. It says Super Audio CD, and that's the actual logo you want to look for. So every SACD player, every player will have that logo. It might not be right where it's sort of visible, but it has to have that logo, which is on the top right-hand side. You can see that logo there. Thank you for that, Dustin. I forgot to put that in. But yeah, that's very important. I've had people ask me before. I've had emails and texts. Is this an SACD player? And so they show me the front of the player, and I don't see that logo. So it definitely has to have that logo. It's very important to have that logo. Otherwise, it's not an SACD player. And another way you should, you know, if you're not sure, you have this player, you think it's SACD, well, put in an SACD player, and when you press play on the display, it'll actually come up and it'll say SACD when the disc is actually playing. Another way you'll know that you have an SACD player, that's for sure. John says, I think are you talking about my Meatloaf? This is, yeah, Analog Spark. It does sound amazing. This is what you're talking about. You're talking about iRobot. Either one. Again, if you guys just getting into this, buy these. I don't know how much this guy is. I had this before Meatloaf passed away, and I know after he passed away, prices went up a little bit. But you know, check it out on Discogs. Definitely worth it if you want to start your collection. That's for sure. What's the buck stops here? Okay, I can't. Electro company created an Oppo-based unit too. So as a consensus, I know Michael 45, you're asking some of the viewers, you don't have an SACD player, you're looking at different options. Is Oppo sort of the one that a lot of you guys own or would go to? Would be your go-to as well? Anyone tell me? Like I said, I have a Marantz, and then John Loper here. Are you talking $30? Is this $30 on Discogs? If anyone can let me know. Let everyone know. Or is it just average price? Yeah, average price of an SACD is you know, $30 or so. Well, I mean, the engineering, we know Todd Rundgren engineered it. I mean, when I was talking to Michael 45, him and I had a show together. I mean, but again, it's all about what was happening in the day. I mean, that was what, 1977? FM radio was sort of at its peak or pinnacle. That was the sound of the day. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it sounds that bad considering the era that it was in, maybe. That makes sense. Jefferson says, so you're saying it's $100 for this guy right now? Shoot. Yeah, I would have paid, and I know I'm not trying to flex here, I think I would have paid like $30 for this back then, so that's gone up a lot. How many are there? Do we know? But yeah, it sounds good, guys. So if you definitely want a real, I think this is the best sounding Meatloaf Batter to Hell. Get this one if you have an SACD player, of course. Like I said, I have a Marantz. I want to say it's an SV7001. I would have got it retail for about $1,500, $2,000. It's a great system. I'm very happy with my Marantz, and I mean, maybe at some point I can upgrade, but I mean, you know, why? Unless the laser goes, and that's the one thing about these SACD players. It's the late. You've ever seen Austin Powers laser, right? The laser might go, but yeah, absolutely. And then the Westman bump strikes again, 2 for sale now, and you're talking. I don't like to. No, I mean, it is a really good recorded album. Not recorded album, I mean, that's the argument, but really good sounding SACD. And trust me, it's worth it. I mean, I'm not saying go, if it's $100, maybe wait, maybe do some crate digging or find something. But again, it's not mastered by Kevin Gray. It's mastered by Ryan K. Smith. This was an error. But yeah, I like this one. So far I've got, if you're starting out, Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell, you can never go wrong with iRobe. And that's another thing too, right? A lot of these are recorded really well and engineered really well. I mean, I have all the Parsons in different formats, all the vinyl. I got probably as much Parsons as some of my Beatles, is my Beatles collection. And it's a very well engineered, as we know, Parsons was part of the engineering team for the Beatles, Abbey Road, that type of thing. It's really well done. This is a really great sounding album, and it's freaking cheap, right? I think that's like $30. So those are my 2 so far. Now, Santana, MoFi. Here's interesting. This is the Santana. Now, if you're on the MoFi website, click on or search out Santana and look at the vinyl version of this, and it doesn't say original master recording on the top, which is fascinating. It doesn't say original master recording on the top on the vinyl version. It just says Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs, which means they didn't use the master tape to cut it to vinyl, where they basically used the master tape, put it onto DSD, and cut it to vinyl. So there's 2 different, I thought that was really interesting. So there's 2 different masterings of this record, or of this SACD. And again, if you're a Santana fan, I like all of Santana's records. They all sound freaking amazing. Again, you know, we've had so much controversy with MoFi and the DSD, but their DSDs, or their SACDs do sound amazing, and you can't go wrong for the price as well. So there it is. And like I said, this is came from the master tapes, whereas the vinyl was not from the masters. Go figure. Fun fact, eh? Now, can't forget about Steve Hoffman, mastering engineer for years. I picked this beauty up, and Jefferson, let everyone know. I want to know how much this is going for right now. I've had this for a while. If you're into the zombies, this was a Steve Hoffman. Audio Fidelity was the label years ago, SACD, and what can I say about this? There's some mono tracks, there's some stereo tracks. This is one of those underrated, I think, bands, and not a lot of people, you know, I guess if you grew up in the 60s, I mean, I wasn't alive yet, but the Zombies, I love this I love all of these songs. Again, this is the greatest hits. Here are the tracks here, if you can see. And they got some extended ones. I mean, Time of the Season, they got an alternate mix, and that's, of course, my favorite. And She's Not There is another one. But this, again, for me, the Zombies brings back a lot of memories. This is one of my dad's favorite bands, so I remember listening to a lot of these records back in the day. So this one sounds fantastic. And like I said, mostly stereo, but there is some mono cuts in this one as well. But I should probably open it up for you guys and see sort of what it looks like. It's really nice. I mean, again, it's about tangible packaging too, right? Not just, click on play and stream and forget about it. It's here, and there's, nice liner notes. Again, this is the greatest hits. So it talks about, basically the different mastering engineers. And fun fact too, it does say that is mastered at Acoustech Mastering, and Kevin Gray was also the technician, along with a fellow by the name of Dave Collins. But it says it was compiled and mastered for SACD by Steve Hoffman. So there you go. So that's the thing, right? You don't know this. You don't know this stuff when you're just streaming it. So there you go. So Kevin Gray was involved with that one, which I think I knew before. I think I might have asked him that, but I'm not sure what this is going for. But absolutely killer, guys. Again, love it. Love it. Now, obviously this one here, I'm gonna go back to basic. I mean, you're probably sick of it. We just had the 50th anniversary cut come out, but this is, in terms of value, this SACD, this is the 2003. This would have been the an anniversary edition, 2003 EMI. This was actually mastered by Doug Sachs, and it's killer. I mean, you can pick these guys up for a song and the dance. I don't need to buy anything else. I mean, how many more ways can they remaster Dark Side of the Moon at this point? Like, really? So this is my 2003 EMI SACD. It was mastered by Doug Sachs. Killer, love it. I think we are all probably tired of Dark Side of the Moon. I haven't actually listened to this one for a while, but in terms of value, these are probably $15, $20, and I might be completely wrong, but I think that's what it might be. But I also, in the liner notes here, I remember seeing, yeah, so the 5.1 surround mix, and I'm talking about my 2003, was mixed by James Guthrie and Joel Plant. The 5.1 in stereo mastering by Doug Sachs and James Guthrie. Okay, so there you go, and mixed and mastered at Das Boot Recording Studio. There you go. So 2003 EMI, Doug Sachs is a big part of that one as well. Now, I mean, great sounding SACDs. During COVID, I really wanted this on vinyl. It was out of stock for the longest time at Acoustic Sound's website. So I bought the SACD of the Royal Ballet Gala performance, Ernest and Assermet, because I'm a huge fan of the Nutcracker Suite. And again, this is killer. I think this one was mastered by Bernie Grunman. And again, it's all about, the tangible aspects, right? It comes in this beautiful booklet. I mean, absolutely great. So you're getting all that. So, screw all those streamers, right? I mean, even if it's an SACD, you're still getting some tangible stuff here, which I absolutely love. Just freaking great. And then, of course, the albums, the records, the SACDs themselves, you can see here. This is a double. This is 2 SACDs, as you can see. And absolutely just a brilliant, probably from, my research, the best sounding Nutcracker Suite probably ever recorded would be this one right here. So if you're into it, it's a really good way to test your gear as well. It's killer for your gear. Absolutely killer. Amazing. So yeah, check it out, Royal Ballet. This is Acoustic Sounds Analog Productions, and I want to say, and if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is Bernie Grunman, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so those are some of my picks right now. And I'm at the Vancouver Film School here, guys, today. And at the very beginning, I did a quick tour of our facility. And if you want me to go through some more, I can. But if you want to talk more SACDs, love to. Supposed to have my guest, my wingman Nathan Goss. So I'm doing this solo. So hopefully I'm doing a decent job. I don't know if you guys caught my show yesterday, but I'm going to do this probably more consistently. I'm going to do more, and I'm a big proponent of blind shootouts because of the perception bias. You're not, if you know what you're putting on your turntable, you sort of have that bias sort of in your head already. So we did a pretty cool shootout yesterday. If you guys didn't check it out, go back to it later on. The 2012 remastered vinyl Beatles box versus the MoFi box versus the UK tube cut and versus the UK, what was it? The BC13 UK box as well. And we did a poll and did a blind test, and majority of the people that listened loved the 2012 remaster that Sean McGee did. So there you go. And that Beatles box, I have the 2009 CD version of that as well. It's the same remastering. But man, I'm having to go back to it now because I've read so many things about how, you know, the negative on that remastered series, and it came down to people loved it. So quite interesting. Guys, any favorites? Any SACDs you want? Any of the viewers that are watching right now, ones that you guys really recommend at this point, for anyone that's really getting into it as well? Because I really think this needs, like, SACDs. I really truly feel there's a spot for them. I know, you know, as going through some of the history of SACDs, you know, it does require a lot of bandwidth, right? I mean, that's the big thing. It's something called lossless data compression. It's a method called DST, which is direct stream transfer. And, you know, again, it compresses the disk, right? It compresses the disk from 2-channel into 5.1 channel. So again, there's so much that goes into an SACD, which is different than a CD. And I don't know why it hasn't become more popular. I think truly the price alone for me, and I get back to it, you guys can have drinking games all day long about the price, but I truly feel the price is such a good price point. And again, unbelievable sound. I mean, we talk about the sound of this vinyl. We didn't know that, you know, MoFi was doing DSD steps in their vinyl. Again, you know, why don't we talk more about SACDs in terms of value wise? I mean, here's a good point. Someone mentioned this. Wobie Cat here. The Stones do a lot of SACDs. Here's the thing. Miles shows on my channel. He's going to be coming for a live chat this coming Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. He did tell me, though, too, I don't know how many of you guys have the Rolling Stones box that he remastered a few years. I think it was 2007. Now, I don't know if anyone knows this. It wasn't PCM. It was actually files given to him by, it was the Stones or whoever gives him these files. They were all DSD files. So he took these DSD files, did a little of the de-essing that he would normally do, and a couple things here or there, secret sauce, as they say, and then cut it to vinyl. And again, that was DSD source. So the Rolling Stone boxes, if you guys have that Miles cut, was DSD, just so everyone knows as well. I'm curious to see what else everyone's saying here. Elvis Costello, those do sound great. I have a lot of those as well. The SACD, I have the SHM CD as well. They do sound fabulous. I totally agree with you there, man. Absolutely. Anyone else? Give some recommendations for some of the viewers. If you guys are just starting out, put it up there again. I've got a decent Marantz player that I really enjoy. I've experimented over the years. You start with something, you know, probably within your budget, and, you know, work your way up. And I think over the next year or two, I want to be more, you know, I want to look at different SACD albums and buy. That way I can, you know, buy, 3-4 different SACD albums versus one, you know, one step or whatever the case is. So that's the big thing as well. Rock Soul Man, Trust, yeah, Chocolate, Trust, what's he saying here? Elvis Costello's Trust, Blood, and Chocolate, King of America. I have those as well. Great. MFL vinyl sounds great. I think I've heard a lot of good things about, and I have a lot of the Costello MFSLs or MoFis on vinyl, and you sound really good. But yeah, what's too blended? I'm not a fan of the Stones SACDs. The '94 Virgin remasters are much better, and that's the thing, right, Jefferson? Like I was mentioning, the Stones SACDs. I mean, you know, it's interesting. I want to know what you think, or what the differences are. I'm curious to know. Really curious to know. MoFi, the Desperado Eagle sounds great. I think all the MoFi, the Eagle stuff that's out there sounds freaking amazing. If I want to go out there, I mean, yeah, Rob is one of the mastering engineers of MoFi, doing a great job out there with that. Anyone else? Miles Davis, You're Under Arrest is superb. Okay, interesting. Oh, here we go. Bob Dylan box. Yeah, Jefferson, here you go, guys. If you're interested, if you're a big Dylan fan, the Bob Dylan SACD box. How much is that box? Can you let everyone know? I'd be curious to know what that is. Eagles, MoFi, killer. Yes, I agree with you as well. John Bandy, I would contend that in general, the biggest difference as far as whether any digital format sounds good or bad is one once again, due to its mastering mostly. Again, I think it boils down to that. Not only that, not just the mastering too, but probably the source, right? If they're given a shitty tape, or they're given basically a really bad master tape, or maybe it wasn't recorded very well. Some will argue, like we talked about, and I can get it again, that Bad Out of Hell, wasn't the best recorded album, right? But again, I think what Ryan got to work with from the tapes, he did a great job, and this is definitely worth it for. Well, it was a good price when I bought it. I mean, I don't know if I would suggest you guys run out and buy it for $100. I think that's pretty steep, but I mean, if it comes down and you find it at your local record store, yeah. Thriller Mo-Fi. Here's the thing about Thriller Mo-Fi, Gordon. I have an original Canadian Thriller, Michael Jackson Thriller, and I can tell you that was, of course, mastered by Bernie Grumman. That one kicks ass and is killer. I do have the Mo-Fi version. I feel the Mo-Fi version sounds a little bit softer, vocals a little bit softer, in my opinion, than my original Canadian, and I've had that one, obviously, since it came out. Had it for a long time. Is the Mo-Fi Desire good? I keep thinking of getting the SACD since I missed the vinyl. Well, I know that's the thing. I remember when that happened, the Super Vinyl came out. It was this obscure email that Mo-Fi sent us if you're into their email chain, and basically they're gonna press 1,000, and so they do sound good. The Mo-Fi Desire is a great sounding record. It's actually, is it my favorite? Yeah, I would say it's probably my favorite Bob Dylan album. So maybe I'm a little bit biased there, but man, if you can't afford the vinyl cut of it, I don't know how much they're going for in Discogs, but yeah, definitely pick up the SACD. Why not? I think it sounds really good. Absolutely. What are your thoughts? I don't mind the Supertramp Breakfast in America on vinyl for Mo-Fi. It's okay. I do like my original, like the sound of my original better. Any thoughts on any SACD Mo-Fi that you wanted that one? And then the Bob Dylan SACD. That's like the biggest value of all time, right, Jefferson? $200 for the Dylan SACD box. That is a killer deal. There you go. And that's the thing. All about value. Great sounding. You still get the packaging. Great prices. Again, reasons why I think we should look more at SACDs and give them a little bit more love. That is one hell of a bargain. Wow, thank you for that. That's amazing. Here we go. Yeah, I was going to talk about this. The Genesis boxes were amazing, and I was looking on Discogs before I went live because I don't own the Genesis SACD boxes. Yeah, I think those would be probably on my want list, or my grail. I want obviously the ones with Peter Gabriel, and I noticed those are what, $500 plus plus United States dollars for those ones. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about the SACD versions of Genesis. Now, I know what Phil Collins' face value. There's no SACD for that upcoming, or the Atlantic 75 series, unfortunately. That would be pretty cool. But again, what does he say? Yeah, I know Kidding A. Jefferson. I'm sort of kicking myself. The Genesis boxes would have been killer. Absolutely. Breakfast in America, best is the Japanese Blue. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, but the Genesis boxes, that's one. I mean, the prices are insane for those ones, and I'm kicking myself. I'm not a huge Genesis fan. I'm probably going to get Sailing England by the Pound. That's my favorite Genesis album out of all of them. I'll probably get that from Acoustic Sounds, their Atlantic 75 with 45 RPM. But yeah, man, it's too bad I didn't pick that one up years ago. And what else? Yeah, another one. Gordon says Genesis boxes are outstanding. I mean, go to Discogs and have a look. I mean, they are bloody expensive, that's for sure. Yeah. So anyone else? I know anyone else giving recommendations on SACD players for some viewers? I know there's some viewers turning in because I've been getting some messages that they're just getting into the SACDs. So I'd be curious to some of the players that you guys own. I've owned Harman Kardon. I've owned Sony. I've owned Denon. Now I own a Marantz. So you sort of go through it. It's like when you're starting, your record journey and starting with gear. You start with maybe not a Crosley, or anything like that, but maybe not the greatest high-end record player, and you sort of work your way up as you watch these videos and you basically get more educated through the forums and just through your own research, that's for sure. John, what's $300 new on Amazon? Is that the Sony 800 MD2? Is that what you're saying? So that's a Sony, hang on, he says it here. So this, I lost it here. Here's another one, Denon DCD A1110 player. How much is that going for? I'm curious to know. Have you ever compared SACDs to DCC's Hotel California, for example? No, I haven't. I actually wanted to buy the DCC version of Hotel California, and I came close, but I just couldn't justify. I think it's $100 on Discogs right now. I just couldn't justify doing it for $100. I'll stick with my Mo5 for what, $50 Canadian. Thank you very much. Well, yeah, for sure. Anyone else gets? Here's what's Bourbon Street. I don't know, but I would like to get my hands on a Black Sabbath Paranoid Japanese SACD. Yes, that would be sweet. I don't know, for me, okay, here's the thing. Sometimes some bands I prefer on vinyl more than I'd prefer an SACD. And I think Black Sabbath is that one where I'd rather just have it on vinyl and not have it a digital source of it. That's just me. But again, I say that now, watch me go and buy it, that's for sure. John, a Denim 1700 goes for $1,100, so it's a decent player, that's for sure. John Loper doesn't have any Black Sabbath on SACD. I think, like, for me, Black Sabbath, that's one I think it just has to be dropping the needle, sit back, and just get the analog experience. I'm sorry, that's just one that I don't know. I just don't want. I don't think I'll ever buy an SACD Black Sabbath because I'm still hoping that the self-titled will come out from Rhino, High Fidelity. Cross your fingers. John Banny, Sticky Fingers SACD, for example, cool because it's a flat transfer. That's why it sounds the way it does, not SACD or SHM. So Sticky Fingers SHM was a flat transfer. Thank you for that. Anyone else got any more ideas for any viewers that are just getting into the SACD market? Anyone? Sound like the teacher from Ferris Bueller. Anyone? In Black, yeah, I agree too. Like, it just, for me, Sabbath, because I've listened to it so much on vinyl, it just has that feel to it, that's for sure. Rock Soulman, the Canadian AM audiophile vinyl edition of all 4 Supertramp albums sound the best to me. I don't disagree. If you know me, been following me, I post a lot on Facebook, the different Mo5 forums. I have all the Canadian A&M audiophile vinyl. Interesting one too. The one that I think sounds the best is it's even in the quietest moments, and I call it my Canadian Mo-Fi. It's done in JVC Super Vinyl. It was actually half-speed cut from the original master tapes, apparently, by Stan Ricker on JVC Super Vinyl. So even in the quietest moments, I know Jefferson, you're probably watching and going, thanks a lot, Westman, you made me spend money on it. But that is one of the best-sounding Supertramp albums out there. Half speed or not, you guys might not like half speed, but that one, it was cut and mastered by Stan Ricker. So I mean, it's my Canadian Mo-Fi that was only done for the A&M audiophile series. So yeah, check those ones out as well. Darren, I personally think when these vinyl shootouts happen, they should include an SACD and a Blu-ray audio. That's sometimes apples to oranges. I mean, even yesterday when we did our stereo box review, some people were commenting, well, you should do some mono stuff in there. Well, you can't really compare mono to stereo. It's a completely different animal, but I don't know. Absolutely. I mean, it's a thought anyways. Keep after Rhino on the Sabbath. I am the biggest proponent, as you guys know me, watch my channel. I am convinced we're going to do it. I'll keep doing it. I'll keep harassing Rhino. Kevin Gray is not in charge of getting those tapes. It's Peter Milligan from Rhino, the A&R, and I absolutely will continuously getting on them. This is a good one too. Thank you, Dustin. I actually own the acoustic sounds version or analog production version of that album. It's fantastic. I think it's a 45, but the SACD I do not own, but that's a really good pick. Thank you so much. And I don't think, we play this drinking game. I don't think I've used that word today, guys. You should be really proud of me. I haven't used that word, so I'm proud of myself today as well. But for the newer to SACDs, and I know Dustin made this, and again, I can't emphasize enough, if you're out there and you're at a store, or you see like you think is a SACD player, just make sure it has the logo. in this thumbnail, you see the top right-hand corner. It says Super Audio CD. That's the logo you need to look for. That logo will be on your player somewhere, just so you guys know. And I've had a lot of viewers ask me that in the past. So you definitely need to look for that as well. And then John, well, that's another thing too. I've had Mr. Milligan on my show, and I said, look, it's got to be the UK, the Sanctuary tapes, right? Those are the ones. I mean, think about this. If they limit that to 5,000, that's going to be insane FOMO. And I hate FOMO. I mean, I'm just getting over it from all these years, during the whole COVID of dealing with FOMO. But yeah, that would be insane. Crime of the Century, the A&M Audiophile Crime of the Century. I've got a lot of those precedents for A&M from Crime of the Century. It's a great album as well. I can't disagree with you more. So Mr. Bandy says, Darren has a good point. Has little to do with the digital format. It has to do with shape of the tapes, transfer choices, methods, and then finally mastering. So maybe we can. Maybe we can do a blind shooter at some point and add an SACD on there as well as one of the choices. I mean, if you guys want to do it, I'll do it. I think I might get into that more. Me and Patrick, we might do like a Sunday shootout thing, and I just need some ideas because that could be a really good idea. I'm down for that. That's for sure. That's been a lot of fun. If you haven't already, go back to my channel and click on or tap on community, and you'll see the poll. If you haven't watched my video from yesterday, we did the blind shootout. Download those files. It's 4 different versions of no reply from different cuts, and then pick the one you like the most and watch the video. You can actually then learn which one you like the most based on the blind shootout that we did. It's kind of fun. So guys, yeah, FOMO is back. Big Bill Roomsey. That's some good stuff there. I got his Vinyl Me Please did one of his albums a few years back, 2016. Big Bill sings folk songs. It sounds freaking amazing. It was actually a production with Vinyl Me Please. Absolutely incredible as well. Darren, thank you so much for this episode. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. I had to do this solo, and I did not, when I woke up this morning, guys, I had no idea I'd be doing this solo, so I was not prepared at all to be talking for a full hour like I have. So, I mean, hopefully I'm not bantering on, getting tired of me. But no, Darren, thank you so much. I know you were excited about this. Hopefully it lived up to your expectations from the other day when you messaged me. Elvis, I compare digital versus analog a lot. I prefer analog, but sometimes digital sounds better. I mean, again, music's subjective, right? It's one of those things, absolutely. John, thank you. Thanks for the show. No problem. No problem. Thank you. This has been a really good chat. Have you ever heard high-res PCM Zeppelin? Again, Zeppelin's another one. I'm vinyl on Zeppelin. I don't go there with anything digital on that one. I don't even really like the Jimmy Page stuff that he did. That's obviously a digital transfer as well. No, thank you. But guys, this has been awesome. We'll leave it at that. Check out, we'll have another show on Friday with guests, hopefully. If anyone wants to come on my show any longer, I'm getting worried. But Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I've got Miles Scholl, Abbey Road Studios, live to answer your questions, talk Beatles, talk about maybe what's happened with that Blue and Red album, that one by the Beatles that's apparently supposed to come out sometime this year. Mr. Bandy says, Steve, I vote for yes for proper volume match shooters, and that's what we're going to do going forward. Patrick and I, after the show yesterday, we had a chat about that one. We're down for that one. I actually want to do Abbey Road next, one of the tracks off of Abbey Road, and pick 4 or 5 as well. I think this is having it completely volume match works so well, that's for sure. Thank you guys so much for this. I hope you had a good time. Have some of my, take a look at some of my picks. Go back to my show yesterday, or go into community, do that poll, do a blind shootout. I think that's really important, and really listen to it. And it was funny too, because I picked the MoFi as my favorite one out of all 4, which is so funny. I guess I am a big fan of Stan Ricker. I think I know his sound already or whatever, so that's the reason why. But yeah, anyways, I'll leave it at that. I'm at the Vancouver Film School. You can see here, this is a huge studio. If you didn't catch the top of it, go to the video at the very beginning. I did a quick tour of 1 or 2 of the studios as well. Guys, thank you so much. This has been fun. Not what I expected to be doing, talking for a whole hour, but it is what it is. We'll see you again on Friday, and if you can't do Friday, we'll have our Sunday show, and then we're going to be working towards doing more level match blind shootouts. So get back to the community page, do that blind shootout poll that I put up, and then watch the video. Till next time. Turn up the music. Let's go. Crank it up. Put some Sabbath on. Rhino High Fidelity Sabbath. I want it. We'll see you again.